Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I never thought I'd be posting here. My name is Leah Olson, and for years my younger brother Kyle and I were all each other had. Our parents passed early, leaving us our childhood home, an old, sprawling house on the edge of the Dalton woods. Kyle, always the quiet, artistic one, loved that forest. He spent hours out there sketching, finding inspiration in the gnarled oaks and the damp, mossy ground. He was a good kid, maybe a bit too withdrawn sometimes, but fiercely loyal. We had a rhythm, a routine, or we did until last spring. He came back from one of his sketching expeditions, looking more animated than I'd seen him in years. His clothes were caked in mud, but he held something carefully wrapped in his jacket. "Lee, you won't believe what I found," he said, his eyes practically sparkling. He unfolded the jacket, revealing a chunk of what looked like petrified wood or a deeply eroded stone. It was roughly the size of a melon, covered in intricate, almost organic carvings. They resembled intertwining roots or veins, impossibly delicate yet ancient. It even had a faint, earthy smell, like wet soil and something else, something indescribable. "It was buried deep near the old maple at the back of our property," he explained, tracing a finger along a dark crevice. "It feels alive." I just shrugged. Kyle always had a flair for the dramatic, especially about his art. I told him to wash up and that he could keep his find on his desk, so long as it didn't get mud on the carpet. That stone became Kyle's world. He'd sit for hours, sketching it from every angle, his graphite strokes echoing the alien veins on its surface. He stopped going out, stopped seeing his friend Trish Shaw, barely 8. When I tried to talk to him, he'd just nod vaguely, eyes fixated on the artifact. The subtle shifts began weeks later. First, it was the house. A persistent dampness crept in, even in dry weather. A strange, earthy odor started to permeate the air, like mushrooms growing in a cellar. Then it was Kyle. He started avoiding bright lights, retreating to the dim confines of the basement. His skin, usually pale, took on a sickly, almost translucent quality, and I swore I could see faint, dark lines tracing beneath it, mirroring the patterns on his stone. When he spoke, sometimes his voice would drop, a gravelly undertone distorting his usual gentle tone, making it sound layered, like two voices speaking at once. One evening, I walked past his open bedroom door and saw him. He was standing over the stone, whispering to it. Not just whispering, cooing like a lover. He was holding a small, sharp carving knife, a tool he used for intricate details, and was ever so gently scraping at the stone's surface. As he scraped, a fine, dark powder fell onto his palm. He lifted his hand to his mouth, licking the powder off his fingers. I gagged, pulling back quickly before he could see me. The image burned into my mind. I tried to confront him. "Kyle, what are you doing? You're scaring me. This thing, it's changing you." He just gave me a vacant stare, the faint lines on his face seeming to deepen and shift. "It's just inspiration, Lee," he rasped, his voice that distorted echo. "The roots, they speak to me." I decided then, the stone had to go. That night after he'd finally fallen asleep, I crept into his room, heart pounding. The air was thick and cold. The stone pulsed faintly with a dark inner luminescence. As I reached for it, Kyle's hand shot out, grabbing my wrist with incredible force. His eyes were wide open, black as coal, and the lines on his face were now visibly throbbing. "Don't touch it," he hissed, his voice a guttural snarl that was completely alien. "It's ours." He squeezed my wrist until I cried out, then shoved me away with impossible strength. I stumbled back, terrified, realizing this wasn't Kyle anymore. Or not just Kyle. The next few days were a blur of terror. I locked my door at night, but I could hear him. Rustling, whispering, the faint, sickening sound of something growing. The house groaned, the floors became perpetually cold and damp. I called Trish, tried to explain, but she just suggested he was having a mental breakdown. I knew it was more. I saw him in the yard one morning, surrounded by dozens of grotesque sketches of skeletal figures interwoven with vast, fungal growths. He was muttering to the biggest sketch, tracing the veins on his arm, which now looked like dark rivers under his skin. One particularly stormy night, the power went out. I was huddled in my room, trying to keep a semblance of calm when I heard a slow, deliberate thud, thud, thud coming up the stairs. My heart hammered against my ribs. I knew it wasn't Kyle, not the Kyle I knew. I heard the doorknob slowly twist. I'd barricaded it with my dresser, but I heard a sickening crack as the wood splintered. Then, the heavy dresser shifted, scraping against the floorboards. Slowly, painstakingly, the door began to open. A sliver of the hallway, illuminated by a flash of lightning, revealed him. His skin was mottled, covered in thick, black, root-like growths that pulsed under his skin. His eyes were entirely liquid black. He was smiling, but it wasn't Kyle's smile. It was too wide, too hungry, stretching his jaw unnaturally. He held a larger, jagged shard of the stone, sharpened to a cruel point. "Lee," he croaked, his voice a chorus of whispers and the familiar undertone. "It wants to meet you properly." "It wants to plant you," he lunged. I screamed, grabbing an old, heavy bronze statue from my shelf and swinging it blindly. It connected with a wet thud against his head. He staggered back, a thick black ichor oozing from the wound. As he fell, the shard of stone clattered to the floor, breaking into several pieces. A high-pitched, collective shriek echoed through the house, then silence. And then a shuddering sob, a human sob. The police found Kyle curled on the floor, weeping, covered in mud and a strange, dark grime. He was unresponsive, the growths on his skin now static and rigid like dead wood. He was taken to a psychiatric facility, catatonic, barely breathing. They couldn't explain the growths or the black blood or the strange, petrified fragments they found on the floor. I told them everything, but they chalked it up to trauma and a stressed mind. Trish avoids my calls. Kyle is still there, a ghost in his own body. They say he'll never recover. The house, even after I scrubbed it clean, still carries that faint, earthy smell. And sometimes, in the dead of night, I feel a prickle on my skin, an itching sensation that makes me rush to the mirror, searching for faint, dark lines just beneath my own flesh. I destroyed the stone, or what was left of it. But I can't shake the feeling that it didn't just disappear. It simply integrated. And I wonder, with a cold, paralyzing dread, if I'm next. If the roots are already finding purchase, deep beneath my own skin. I don't know how long I have before the whispers start for me. I just know it's still here.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.